Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashana Washai Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, and to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And may we all endure until the end, these last days. May the Lord keep the spirit on us. But this is a video that I'm profiling that was put up by a beautiful brother, Amwan Abad, and it's called "Then Shall the Wicked Be Revealed, the Son of Perdition." And I didn't watch the entire video. I probably watched about 35 minutes of it. It's a 51-minute video, and it was fire and beautiful edification, as usual, coming from this brother. And in the beginning, he pointed out a few things that he went in on about what this man said, and I'm gonna play the clip. It's about 5-minute long interview, maybe almost 6 minutes, but he says a lot. But one thing that he does do at the 4-minute and 30-second mark, he pretty much admits that America used propaganda. All right, because they talked about Hitler and his use of propaganda, but he basically admitted that America uses propaganda as well. All right, and at the 3-minute mark, he talked about controlling of death. All right, so controlling of death. Now I'm going to read the definition of propaganda from the Winston Simplified Dictionary Encyclopedia. From the Winston Simplified Dictionary Encyclopedia Edition, 1933, with biblical references. I'm going to read propaganda, which is on page 773, and propagandist. Now, carefully listen to the definitions and reflect on the statement that I just said. All right, it says propaganda is from the Latin congregation, propagation of the faith. All right, a committee of cardinals having control of foreign missions, college funded by Pope Urban the Eighth, at which missionaries are educated. Propaganda, any organization or method of spreading a certain opinion or belief. The opinion or belief thus spread. So, and all Christian churches, all right, are branches of the Catholic Church. So they're not teaching the doctrine of the Lord, of Yahweh Bashan Hawashai. They're teaching their own propaganda, their own opinions and beliefs. All right. Now, and that spread into what? Because through the Catholic Church and through the churches, they got control over what? The whole world. All right. Now, this is a propagandist right under it. It says, consistently spread certain doctrines, principles, or the like, as advocacy of war, prohibition, birth control. And see, you got to understand, Esau is the weakest and has the weakest sperm. All right. He does not procreate like the other nations, especially Israel, which is why he's so concerned with birth control, or, as he says in here, the control of death.
Are the enemies of freedom here in the United States?
Well, I don't think you can say who in the United States. I don't think there are any sinister persons deliberately trying to rob people of their freedom. But I do think, first of all, that there are a number of impersonal forces which are pushing in the direction of less and less freedom. And I also think that there are a number of technological devices which anybody who wishes to use can use to accelerate this process.
Hold on. Technical devices to accelerate this process. That brings to mind 1 Timothy 6:20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings of oppositions of science, falsely so called. So you got a lot of false science being connected with technical advancements that has been pushed in the past and being pushed especially now. You know, with this machine, that machine, the data says the data can be controlled. Propaganda.
Going away from freedom, of imposing control.
Well, what are these forces and these devices, Mr. Hudson?
I should say that there are two main impersonal forces. The first of them is not exceedingly important in the United States at the present time, though very important in other countries. This is the force which in general terms can be called overpopulation, the mounting.
Overpopulation. And I highly suggest that you go and watch this video, you know, that the brother Anwar Abad, you know, does, because he goes into that pretty extensively.
Pressure of population pressing upon existing resources. This, of course, is an extraordinary thing. Something is happening which has never happened in the world's history before. I mean, let's just take a simple fact that between the time of the birth of Christ and the landing of the Mayflower, the population of the Earth doubled. It rose from 250 million to probably 500 million. Today, the population of...
They had no way of counting how many people were in the earth at the time of the Mayflower or at the time of the birth of the Lord. No way of counting that. All right, and there's nothing new under the sun. So the earth has always had the amount of people that it has now. That's a pseudoscience lie. That's propaganda. All right, that's the spread of an opinion.
The Earth is rising at such a rate that it will double in half a century.
Well, why should overpopulation work to diminish our freedoms?
Well, in a number of ways. I mean, the experts in the field, like Harrison Brown, for example, pointed out that in the underdeveloped countries, actually the standard of living is at present falling, that people have less to eat and less goods per capita than they had 50 years ago. And as the position of these countries, the economic position, becomes more and more precarious, obviously the central government has to take over more and more responsibility for keeping the ship of state on an even keel. And then, of course, you're likely to get social unrest under such conditions, with again
So what he's doing is really what he's doing. He's prophesying or giving you the game plan. You cut off the resources, make life hard, and eventually you get social unrest, because the earth has more than enough land and food and water to take care of all the people and even more. But you have certain individuals that own up way too much and want to hoard it to themselves and not give it to the people.
Intervention of the central government. So I think one sees here a pattern which seems to be pushing very strongly towards a totalitarian regime. And unfortunately, as in all these underdeveloped countries, the only highly organized political party is the Communist Party. It looks rather as though they will be the heirs to this unfortunate process, that they will step into the position of power. It's an extraordinary situation, actually. I mean, one has to look at it, of course, from a biological point of view. The whole essence of biological life on Earth is a question of balance, and what we have done is to practice death control.
See that? Death control, birth control, propaganda.
The most intensive manner, without balancing this with birth control at the other end. Consequently, the birth rates remain as high as they were, and death rates have fallen substantially. These hierarchical systems controlled by bureaucracies, either the bureaucracies of big business or the bureaucracies of big government.
Now, the devices that you were talking about, are there specific devices or methods of communication which diminish our freedoms in addition to overpopulation and over-organization?
Well, there are certainly devices which can be used in this way. I mean, let us take, after all, a piece of very recent and very painful history, is the propaganda used by Hitler, which was incredibly effective. I mean, what were Hitler's methods? Hitler used terror on the one kind, brute force on the one hand.
And America has done exactly the same. All right. And as a matter of fact, every place that is ruled over by Edom has used the same thing.
He also used a very efficient form of propaganda, which he was using every modern device at that time. He didn't have TV, but he had the radio, which he used to the fullest extent.
So now you got billboards, bus stops, the buses have billboards on them. So when you're using propaganda, you can all you need to do is just plaster the message or the opinion in the face of the people so much until it just becomes fact in their minds. Propaganda. All right, because the truth stands on its own. The truth doesn't need to be advertised or propagandized.
And was able to impose his will on an immense mass of people. I mean, the Germans were a highly educated people.
Well, we're aware of all this, but how do you equate Hitler's use of propaganda with the way that propaganda, if you will, is used, let us say, here in the United States?
There it is. All right. The parallel as it is used here in the United States. All right. This is the book of Sirach. Ten and 8. And it reads, because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And now the Lord is about to translate the kingdom away from Esau, Edom, to Jacob. All right. This is, let's go to the book of Daniel. All right. This is Daniel 8:25. Okay. Propaganda at its greatest. It says, and through his policy, he shall cause craft to prosper. Democracy. And everything that you just heard comes with democracy. And through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, meaning his mind, because they've lied so much about how great they are, they believe their own lies now. And by peace shall destroy many. All right. I always talk about the democracy grenade and the democracy bullet, the democracy missile. Take this democracy, you know. All right. We're bringing you peace. Pow, pow, pow. All right. It says, and he shall magnify himself also in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken with hand. And how is he standing up against the prince of princes? He's saying that his science is greater than the Most High. He's saying that his science is above what the world ignorantly calls God. This is Daniel. No, not Daniel, but 2nd Ezra 6 and 6. And it reads, and then I considered these things, and there were all made through me, and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other. Then answered I and said, what shall be the part and the asunder of times, or what shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born, of him Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So the end of the age And this is the end of the age of the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, who the Bible has identified as the wicked. And the beginning of Jacob's, which is a never-ending empire. All right, the house of David being set up. All right, with David sitting on the throne, and he's being placed there by the King of Kings, Yahushua himself. All right, so with that, I'll give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakar Kodash, Wa Abba Babal, Shalom, Kwam Yasharallah.